Yes, good evening, people. Good evening. We're back. It's the Armoury TV, episode 3 of the Loose Cannons. And today we're talking about what's the next stage of the process. Yes, all. Hope everyone's well. Big up everyone on a Wednesday evening. It's that time of the evening. It's the Loose Cannons. I've got my famous four with me, or the famous three, and I'm just a little side man here. You get me? But I've got G
Yeah,
Talks in the building. What we say?
Yeah, man, bro. I'm all good, man. I'm all good. I'm feeling positive, man. I thought, you know what, like we're getting to the run into the title, so the waves had to go, man. I had to get the buzz cut. Serious times now. Get me? I'm even
I
doing
hear.
leg day at the gym and everything. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
I'm good.
you ready
I'm
for that
ready, man.
march,
I'm
innit?
ready
Ready
for
for the
the
parade.
fight,
Hey,
man.
you know
I'm
what?
ready
You
for the
know what?
parade.
You only do leg day when you see a little bit of sun in it. You know that you're just, ooh,
And you think to yourself, I should have
ooh.
started this a few months ago, boy.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. We got that parade, man. So I gotta be ready, bro. You know what I mean?
I hear that. We also got Canners in the building. What we saying?
But I'm well, man. I'm well, man. As G says, man. I'm just wet. I'm looking forward to this running, man. I haven't had one of these runnings for a minute, a long, hot minute, boy. So you know what? I'm getting those kind of feelings back. You know that the muscle memory, the brain memory, all coming back to me. How it all was, boy. Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. We're going to touch on a bit of that later. But before we do that, let me introduce the last guy on the panel. You know, we're honored to have you on the show. Big up Albert Sambi Lakonga. Big up yourself. Uh, oh, Seamus Niger. My bad. Sorry. Big up Niger. What are you saying, brother? We all
You know.
good?
Of all players you want to reckon what to liken me to is Sambi Lakonga, bro.
It's the
Oh
red
my
kit. It's
God,
the red
the
kit in
one
the
that I
twist.
hate the most. Oh yeah, now my people, is your dark skinned man from the motherland. If you didn't know before, tonight you gotta understand. I'm bun Sambi Lakonga, man. We're not interested in that. But yeah, just like Candace was saying, it's exciting to be in the business end of the season and still be in everyone's minds and conversations. So
Mm,
I'm
mm.
excited, man. Riding the wave. Every single stream I'm on, they're trying to draw me out. Say, "Are you gonna win the league? Say it, say it. When are you gonna come with chest?" Like, and this is what everyone's trying to do. I won't lie to you. Before YouTube, I used to keep my predictions kind of with the man them and the man them only, and we'll touch base again at the end of the season. Now I'm under pressure. People are asking, Niger Englishman, what have you got? What are you gonna say? Are you gonna? It's all crazy. Like who? I don't know if do you obviously this season for the first time I know some Manchester City fans. It's
Mm.
crazy.
I found
Not
a few,
I'm
yeah.
I'm still not at the level where I don't like them enough where I consider them rivals. So we're still yeah, what's going on? What's going on? All that. We're still in that place. We're definitely
Yeah.
still in that place. But the fact that these men are like intimidated and worried about what Arsenal are on, I like that, man. I like
Yeah,
it. I'm
A nice
enjoying
feeling.
yeah.
Just before we get into
By
the
the way,
main part of
Sandy
the
watches this, Niger.
it. Not since he's left for on loan, bro. We don't watch it no more.
show. But yeah, for me, like I get everyone's views on it. I'll be real. Squeaky bum time kicked in. I'm not even enjoying the build up to the game. Like you see before when I know Arsenal's on
Oh,
TV,
swear down.
like Arsenal's on. I'm so scared at the moment because it was so close. Like the Palace game, I'm not gonna lie. Like I just felt, you know, you look at that game thinking we should win that game. I'm just so nervous about it all. Once the game's kicked off and I see the players start playing, I'm like, I can breathe again because I forget. Do you know what I mean? What they're doing.
Gums, I'm
Crazy.
disappointed
But,
in that. I'm disappointed
brother,
in you.
I love the
But
team, but you know what it is? It's that.
Crystal Palace,
You know
though,
what it,
man. Sorry,
you know what it is?
I
It's
wasn't
Canners.
worried about
It's
them.
Canners. He give me it's the hope that kills. And since
What
he give me
the?
that saying,
Don't
I
blame
can't.
me.
I can't get past
Now,
it, and I'm sitting there.
do,
I don't want to count my chickens too early before they hatch. Like I'm just
you know,
holding in there.
wait,
But
Gums, I'm with you for most games, but you see the Palace one. I knew we were going to slap them up. And this is why, because I knew they were going to prove the point I've been drumming in for the last 6 months. I don't know why it is, but our team do not care about the Europa League. The players,
No, but
not
you
the,
know what?
not the, no, hold on, not the coach, the players. If you like, tell me, just tell me our best performance in the Europa League this season.
Yeah, we've been bad all season. Yeah, we've been bad.
Like
we've been bad
to the
all
point
season.
where it's to the point where I was surprised we even got where we were, but I also was like, we're here now, let's go and win it. But what Thursday night showed me is that these lot don't really care about it. They're just so locked into what's happening in the Premier League. So I knew we'd see a different side, taking our chances, not making better decisions in the final. I knew it. And I knew it was going to piss me off as well, because I knew, why didn't we just do this on Thursday? Do you get what I'm saying? So,
one of the Thursdays, isn't it? You didn't need to do it in both. Just one of the Thursdays turn up. But
literally.
This is what kind of stemmed my thought of what's the next stage of the process. Because we've seen what we can do in the league. Again, if you look at the Arsenal's process, I've got the age profile of players, the players we signed in the last 2 years. I won't include the first year because I think that was definitely a look at what you got, clear out some, bring in some stop gaps, because that was Pablo Mari, that was Willian, that was those kind of signings. It wasn't really, I don't think, Arteta's plan. The second season, when he got his second window, that to me is when Arteta's plan started. And I'll quickly pull up the names and the ages. So we got Ben White, 23. 23, Ramsdale 23, Tomiyasu 22, Sambi Lokonga and Tavares both 21. So we signed, every player was 23 and under. We signed in that window. It was definitely about refreshing the squad, clearing out again a lot of the deadwood, getting some younger players in there, some hungry players. So that was kind of stage one of the process. And in terms of finishing that season, it was looking at trying to get back into Europe, because we missed out on Europe the year before. Then we come into this window. We've now signed a bit more experience. Jesus 25, Zinchenko 24. The youngster in Fabio Vieira 22.
Wait. Zinchenko's 24.
Yeah.
Shut up.
You thought he was older?
He's older, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been around a long time.
He's an old head on young shoulders, man.
Are you serious? 24?
Yeah, he's 24.
Wow. Sorry, man. I'll let you
that's cool.
on.
We get back to it. So then we brought in,
and you still look younger than them, Kenners.
Just those goals have got you for Sambi, bruv. Don't come to me, man. Leave me out of it.
Man's bigging you up, bruv. I'm saying he looks young. He looks freaking older than you.
I know you run those little side digs. You know what I
mean? And the last two in that window, Matt Turner 28, but again, the backup keeper. So I don't really think age comes into it with that one. And then Marquinhos 19. The reason why I bring this convo up, we then went into January. We were linked with younger players, Mudryk and Caicedo. We ended up signing Trossard, who was 28, and we signed Jorginho, who was 30. So the process up to that point had very much been about youthful players. We were linked in January with young players. Is he 26? No, when we signed him, he was 24. No, really?
Couldn't have been. Yeah.
No, was he 24,
25 when we signed him?
Oh, okay, sorry. I don't know where I got them numbers from. Maybe it's an old website. So looking into what we do in the future, obviously we signed some more experienced players in January, and that's for me to get us over the line. I don't think anyone expected us. I don't think Arteta and Edu expected us to be in the position we was in, and we signed some experience. Now I'm looking at Europe, and we look inexperienced in Europe. This summer, I think we're ahead of schedule. However, do we change part of the process? Do we have to now bring in not players who will make our squad better, but players that will make our 11 better? The reason why I say that is we've all noticeably seen a drop-off when we make certain changes. If it's Granit Xhaka comes out, there's a drop-off. If Lokonga comes in or Vieira, same with Odegaard. Partey, Jorginho, there's a drop-off. Mid defense, there's a drop-off. Up front, there's a drop-off. So our squad needs refreshing. If we buy squad players, does that improve us? Again, we went out of Europe at an earlier stage than we should have really, and that's due to maybe the rotation. So for you, we haven't really signed worldies, if I could say that. I don't want to be disrespectful with any of our players, but you look at 80 million for Mudryk, 20 million for Trossard. There's a big difference. Do you think the process now this summer has to change?
Big difference in the return as well.
I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it at all. But do we need to change the process a little? because can we keep affording to? Do you know what I mean? We look at the Partey
Yeah.
situation. I think that's the big one for us. When he's out, yes, Jorginho's done a great job for us, and I'm not mad at the signing. It does what it's meant to do this summer. I'm sorry, this Christmas when he got signed. But in the summer, do we need to go and get someone who's going to rival Partey, not back up Partey? Do you know what I mean? Do we need someone who's going to rival now Ben White and Zinchenko? Do we need someone who's going to rival Saka and not back him up? Because yes, Saka's got to be able to play 3 games a week. However, we've seen it with Martinelli. Once he got dropped one game, Martinelli's come back a different man, scored 6 in 6. We need those players who are going to push this first 11 on. So do we now, again, we don't know what Arteta's process is. It might have been 3 years of these players and then we go big. But do we feel we need to change the process a bit now and sign them game changers as such? Or are you happy with what we've been doing, them middle of the road, 40, 50 millions at a young age, or do we need a bit more experience? G, you're nodding intently, so I'm coming to you first. What's your thoughts on the process? Do you think we're ahead of schedule? And next state this summer, what are we looking to do? We don't need players, but I'm just talking about age and price tags.
First of all, I think if we start at the beginning. I mean, initially when we took on Mikel Arteta, and there was a lot of talk about the process. I mean, I wasn't really buying into it initially. I wasn't. I'll be honest. I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite and say I was completely sold on his appointment, completely sold on his process. But obviously, over a period of time, I've seen that it's taking shape. At the same time, I think just like all process or plans or strategies you have, which whatever the project is, you have it all written down, you have it all down in theory, but things change. And sometimes a process, a plan, a strategy can accelerate. Sometimes it can, for whatever circumstances, somewhat take a bit of a sideways movement or go a little bit south for a period of time. So I think it's just like in terms of an analogy. So I mean, you could have, say, a 25k job, and you could decide that, look, boom, in 10 years' time, I'm going to save up enough money to get a deposit for a house and buy a house. But in that 10 years, you might get a promotion, and all of a sudden you're earning 50k. So your plan in terms of getting that mortgage or getting a house is going to accelerate. Likely, you could get made redundant, and all of a sudden that 10-year plan is looking like now 15 or 20-year plan. So I think we have to adapt. I think we're ahead of schedule in terms of the process, and I don't think it's a case of just this process. For me, has to be flexible. It has to be fluid. And I think what you saw in January in terms of the signings of Trossard and Jorginho was exactly that. We were ahead of schedule in terms of our process. I don't think anybody, even the club and all its staff and players, envisioned we'd be in a position to win the league this season. But because of that, I think that's the reason why, when the likes of Mudryk and Caicedo signings didn't necessarily go through, I think that's why you saw the swift action of signing the likes of Jorginho and Trossard, because we're on the verge of potentially winning the Premier League. I think had we been in and around the kind of top 4, maybe if we'd missed out on those top targets, we probably may not have, delved into the market that swiftly and got alternatives, because we saw something similar to that the season before. I
said the same thing. I think if we was in Man United's position sitting in third, we probably would have got Trossard, but we wouldn't have gone for Jorginho. And we saw
definitely
that
wouldn't have bought Kiwior either.
Yeah, and I think we saw that in the summer. We went once for the DM, Douglas Luiz. Once we didn't get him, it was like, all right, cool, that's it. We're just settle with what we got. Whereas I do agree with you. I think we had to change the plan because we're in a better position.
You've got
to adapt. You've got to be fluid. You've got to be flexible. And I think in terms of like the last part in going into the summer and like the players we're going to bring in, I've always said like there's many ways you can kind of improve your squad or your 11. Like you can buy squad players, which I think we've done. We've strengthened our squad, not necessarily our first 11 with the signings of Trossard and Jorginho, even though Trossard has come in and played in the first 11. But at the same time, something I said, previous streams, where if you buy players that are going to come into the first 11, inevitably you're still improving your squad, because if you buy a player that's going to come in and that's going to start, the player who is of top quality that was already starting is going to drop to the bench, and that inevitably improves the squad anyway. I think what we will see is us moving. I think going into this summer, I think you will see the caliber and the quality of player that we're targeting. I think you saw it in January, will be that level higher than what we've done in previous windows. So, yeah, I think the process is in a good place. I think we're ahead of schedule. And I think in terms of bringing in players, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see us target, 2, 3, maybe 4 players that can really come in and either be part of that first 11 or will be really pushing the first 11 players, because going into Champions League football next season, there can't be as big a drop-off as there has been between the Premier League and the Europa League, because if that happens, then we're going to go out in the group stages in the Champions League, and we're going to be there just to basically make numbers. The last thing I will say is I see the process in short term and I see the process in long term. For me, right now, I don't think there's a single person from Josh at the top right down to the dinner lady or the canteen lady that doesn't have their eyes on the Premier League. I think in terms of the short-term process right now, we need to win the Premier League. That's what it for me. Short-term process now, the target has to be to win the Premier League. The long-term process has to be for the next 5 or 6 years competing at the top level for domestic and European trophies, and not just competing, but actually bringing some of them back to the Emirates.
Yeah.
So I see
just before you go, because it is a great roundup you just done there. In terms of age, again, there was a noticeable, we were signing under 23-year-olds last year. This year, the age went up a bit in Jesus, Zinchenko, obviously Trossard or Jorginho. And again, this is what you're saying about a long-term and short-term. Short-term plan is you go and get those 28, 29, 30-year-olds who are ready to go, again, bring them in from the Premiership. They're going to hit the ground running like we've seen. Long term, you may go out abroad and get a younger player in who's part of your 5-6 year plan. Do you feel, let's say we win the league this year. Let's say we win it. Do we now go for the instant impact of, say, a Trossard or Jorginho? Or do you now say, actually, we brought the guys the trophy. We're going to be competing. This team is competing. But do we now think 2-3 years down the line rather than bring in instant? So what would you say in terms of kind of age bracket? What do you think we're going to do in the summer?
I think it's a bit of both. And again, I think just with everything, I think going into a transfer window, there's going to be a strategy, there's going to be a plan, there's going to be a process that they're going to want to follow. At the same time, it depends what happens in that transfer window. Just how we saw in January, we went for the likes of Mudryk and Caicedo. It didn't work, so we had an alternative. We had a plan B. I think you will see very similar come the summer. I think inevitably they're going to have to target top players, that top bracket of player. And I'd be a bit surprised if that isn't the plan or strategy going into the summer. However, I don't think we can completely abandon the whole kind of youth project, because that's what we're about. I think, we're going to scour, European and world football.
We got Haaland for that.
I know that's true, but there are quality players out there in European and world football that ultimately, if there's an opportunity, you've got to go for it. So
for sure,
I think we will see a bit of a mixed bag come the summer. I don't see us going out there and signing, Leao from Milan, Declan Rice, 3 or 4 top international players, and then
I need 5 players in the summer. I don't know about you lot.
I think you'll see a combination of the two, but I want to see Arsenal target top international players going into the summer, because we're competing for the Premier League next season. We want to be competing for the Premier League, and we want to be competing for the Champions League, and to do that, I think we need the best of the best.
I hear that. I was just putting up Shane Curtin. Big up yourself. Big up Luke as well. Craig AFC in the chat. Big up Mr. King, Gunner King. Enough love. But he's saying Ivan, Tony, Rice, and Kuda from Ajax would be doable. That wouldn't be a bad. That wouldn't be a bad free. I'm not mad at that. But we're not going to really get
even put in with that Gundogan on a free.
Oh yeah, he's on a free. Ooh, I don't know when I just jumped off to, but he's in the stream still. I don't know what's happening.
I'm here.
Okay, all good. Yeah, Gundogan on a free is not a bad shout. Silver Fox is saying Oshiman or Tony. But yeah, Canners, we're going to come to you next.
He's not asking that.
Oh, yeah, he put a question mark. We'll get to that later. We'll start that one. We'll come back to that later, Mr. Silver. But yeah, Canners, what about yourself? What do you feel is the next stage of the process for you?
Think,
or what do you think Arsenal are going to do?
I know there's a lot been said about the ownership of the club and the direction they're going, what they want, what they're in it for. But and we all know, look, these guys are all about, their franchises. They're all about winning, and that's proven in all the sports that they've done over in the US. My thing is, and what I feel that the next stage of this process is going to be is domination. I actually think we are going for domination. What I mean by that now is that we've got a foundation of players that are at a good age. We've tied them down on, your long contracts. So the core players that are, I think, soon enough, Saka's contract will soon be announced. Martinelli, Odegaard's going to soon be kind of renegotiated. Saliba, Gabriel
needs tying down.
Do you know what I'm saying? So look, that's the core of our squad, the team, the first 11, and they've got miles in them. Barring touch wood, barring any bad injury, those core of players, even Jesus, now is hitting the prime of his career. We're on about domination now and going forward. And what I think about what these guys are doing, and if you look at the signings of Trossard, going for Caicedo, going for Mudryk, getting Jorginho, these guys aren't fucking about. Excuse my French, but these guys aren't messing about. They've seen, what this squad can do. They've seen what the manager is cooking and how he's dealing with it and how good a coach he is. Because if you really check it, okay, the big difference between Arteta and Conte is this: Arteta makes players better. Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Do you know what I'm saying? Wherever Conte's gone, he's either bought ready-made players or he's come in with a squad that's got a certain caliber. What he's come up short with Tottenham is the fact that he's not been backed. Arteta, though, has been backed, and what he's doing is making these players better. I've always had in my mind before, until this season, always had a question mark about Odegaard. Not anymore. Not anymore, mate. Yeah. I tell you, for me, he's come on. His loan spell with us. He didn't pull up any trees.
No.
For me, anyway. Mm-hmm. What he's doing now, and that's from Arteta coaching and making it better. Same thing with Martinelli. What he was doing under Emery and what he's doing now, it's night and day. Mm-hmm. So for me, Arteta it's imperative that he stays at the helm. What he's doing and the next stage of the process, as I said, is that we again be smart in the transfer market, sprinkling maybe a Declan Rice who is coming to the prime of his career, tying him down to another long contract, and then sprinkling a Gundogan as well, who's got that bit of European know-how, etc. I'm excited, man. I know all those years ago, Josh Kroenke said be excited. I believe him right now, man. I'm excited, and the next process is domination.
Yeah, I hear that. So in terms of, because you've called out a couple of different names, so you've got Declan Rice, who again, kind of the start of his back to come into his prime. Do you know what I mean? Nowhere near, and then you call Gundogan, who's do you know what I mean? Late, he must be late 20s, early 30s. Gundogan.
He's 31. So, he's 31. But for me, what he does and what he can do for us, he doesn't show any signs of abating in terms of from a physical aspect of his game.
Yeah. So for you, because again, there's the instant impact and there's the long term, isn't it? Declan Rice is here for the long term. But again, like you said, we're going to be fighting on two fronts. We want to be able to go into European football, Champions League. We need to be able to rest Xhaka, and you've got Gundogan coming in where there's no drop in level. Whereas you see it now, if Xhaka or Odegaard don't start, you see the drop off. Jesus and Nketiah, you see the drop off. And I think this is where the difficulty comes in, because I don't think Arteta next year can really go into it thinking long-term project. Like, if you win us the league, I'll be patient with you. I'll be honest with you. I'll be very patient. But it's like you want to hit the ground running in the Champions League, don't you? You don't want to go in there.
You know what? The only reason why we will not win the league this year is if we have an almighty, I'm touching wood here, calamitous injury breakdown. That's the only reason why, in my opinion, why we wouldn't win this league. If everyone is firing on all cylinders, the way this team's playing, man, we're not throwing this away.
Hey, Canada's got a bit of a league title complex, man. Just bringing up volunteering.
I know, man. Trying to stay well clear of it because last time we spoke
Volunteering
about this,
information
we
about
had
the
a
league, you know. All right, Canada's.
This is the first time I've actually kind of come out with this, and I've not felt this little spider sense tingle since
I can see it. I can see
you know what I mean?
I'm waiting until after the Liverpool game. If we could get out of
But
Anfield with a win, my whole perception changes.
That for me would be the stamp on the letter, on the envelope.
Just
that Liverpool. Anfield
you don't want to see me if we get a convincing win at Anfield, bro. It's gonna.
I don't even need a convincing win.
Nah, a win, I'll just still be calm. But if we convincingly beat them, then it's gonna be hard for me to hold back, bro. I might be doing all streams topless, bro.
The thing about that game is that we're not playing the team, we're playing
the stadium.
Like, the stadium.
Literally.
Because if you check it man for man, I'd even put everyone, all of our 11 up against them.
100% at the moment. But
Salah.
it is again.
Maybe there'll be an argument of two with Alisson and maybe Salah. But everyone else, if you do the combined first 11, you're talking at least.
But they'll tell us Trent's generational, bro. They'll tell us Trent's generational. You know,
not ones there. Anyway, let's get to my guy.
No, but do you know what? Yeah, this season has showed us what Arteta has to do. Because I don't know about you guys, but as we came into the season, the squad that was brought in looked like I'm gonna go all out to get us in the top 4. So I'm gonna make sure those. If we missed out on Tierney, we've got Zinchenko. If we missed out, do you know what I'm saying? I'm going to have some cover there. But if we can pick up a cup on the way, let's see. Let's do it. But I'm going to make those decisions in the new year. Obviously, we started off better than even he expected. Let's be honest. We started off even he. And for me, the players that we signed showed me that we were excited about the here and now, not the future. Because Modric, for me, if we signed Modric, for me, it would have been like, okay, we're not really trying to go for the league title this season. For me, that's what I looked at. I thought he's looking for a long term for the future because I personally didn't think there was a chance of Modric hitting the ground running in the first 6 months. So I was just like, all right, he's one for the future. But when you bring in a Trossard, I always talked about if we want to win the league now, I talked about Zaha and Trossard at the time. You guys remember me talking about it. Obviously, that Zaha ship is completely sailed now. If we were going to sign him, it was in January or summer. I don't want anything. Mine was either or. It wasn't Zaha and Trossard. We got one of them. Let's move on. That ship sailed. But this season has showed us that we have to sign players for our first team. We have to. Because just like you said, in the Champions League, we're not going to be able to be doing this weak team, strong team, midweek thing. We got to have a strong 11 every single game. You're not going to get through to the Champions League later stages if you're playing how we were doing the Europa League. Yeah. Let's be honest, as much as I would have loved to win the Europa League, those early stages give us an opportunity to really utilize our squad and get minutes up because the quality, we should have the quality to get through with our B squad to an extent. But our B squad, nobody in that squad stepped up this season to say, yo, manager, I'm here, you know. I'm here. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that means we have to shift the mentality because hopefully, as kind of said, we're coming into the new season as league champions. We're not going to be given the same respect as we got the first 10, 15 games last season where people are like, oh, this is just the Arsenal. We can bully them and not give them a low block. They realized after 12 games that, yo, we got to pepper them with low blocks and do what we can. Do you get what I'm saying? So we're going to have it's going to be a different mindset the way teams approach us. So we're going to have to add for our starting 11. I want a right back. I want a centre forward. And to be honest, I actually want two midfielders. Two midfielders. That's what I need. Go and snap up a Milinkovic-Savic for 25 mil and a Declan Rice. Do you know what I'm saying? All that Declan Rice on its own is dead to me, bro. And to be honest, even though Caicedo signed a new contract, hey, tempt them again. Go again.
I always say with those ones there, you never know what's in that
Caicedo's, you're never going to tell me Brighton are asking for the same as West Ham for that position. You can't, just because of the way the Premier League works, if I'm if I'm Brighton, I know I can't ask them for the same money as they're asking for Declan Rice because of English tax. So I'm saying I would prefer Caicedo to Rice personally. I know that could be controversial, but I would prefer it.
I think
But I
it
would
is when you
take
get
Declan
Caicedo
Rice.
instead of Rice.
Yeah. Personally,
I take either or, but I feel
I would take either
Declan
or,
Rice's
but
contract.
I prefer.
Declan Rice's contract, what brings his price down because he's only got a year left in the summer start. So I think that's what drops his valuation massively.
How much do you think we can realistically get Declan Rice?
I think 60
60 mil.
And that's just getting held to ransom for Declan Rice. Because I think he's got a year left, and I'm hoping West Ham go down.
Yeah, Rice is going for money, man. He's going for big money, and it's mainly
even with a year left. You reckon,
brother? That's what you hear. What Moyes was saying.
It might not
even English transfer.
It might not even necessarily be the fact because of like so much of like you know what I mean, how much he's worth. It's like you say English tax, but you've also got to remember as well is that you've got to remember you've got the likes of City, you've got the likes of Liverpool, you've got the likes of Chelsea, you've got the likes of Man United. People say to me, but these teams don't need these players. I mean, we've just seen Chelsea spend 600 million on players they don't need. So there are clubs, there are clubs in the Premier League for me. I mean, like if someone like Liverpool, for example, miss out on a Jude Bellingham, or I still wouldn't put it past Chelsea to move, in for Declan Rice. Manchester United need a little bit of a revamp in their midfield. So,
brother, if we pay the money for Rice, he's coming to us, innit? That's it. If we offer the same money as United, Chelsea's coming to us, bro. That's a fact.
I agree. But if they offer more, will we trump their offer? And what we've seen is that we won't always trump another club's offer.
Money talks, man.
Yeah. So I mean, if we slap down 60 and then Chelsea come in and slap 80, West Ham are not talking to us anymore unless we meet the 80. So I think there are other things at play as well. I think if we go in with the same money, it's a no-brainer in terms of where we are and the progress we've made, and the project that we have. There'll be an easy buy-in for Rice, but I think the interest of other clubs will have a major part to play. If there is no interest, or we don't have a lot of competitors for his signature, I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think if we want him, we get him. But I'm not hearing this that none of the other big clubs in the Premier League are after him. I'm not hearing it. I'm going to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But I mean, the only thing with that is that listen, the guy's quality, and if he does become available, soon enough, teams will come circling around. So,
but how much are you lot ready to pay for that guy?
Rice
is my thing.
I'm not ready to pay more than 60, 65, if I'm honest, for Declan Rice. But I know they're going to be asking for dumb money.
70. He ain't going for less than 70.
This is the thing again, and this is where obviously you have to trust your board and your scouting systems, because we can all see the quality of Rice. I could say we can see the importance of bringing Premiership players into the squad, because this year we've brought in Zinchenko, Jesus, who's the other ones we got? Trossard and Jorginho. We've seen how important that's been for us this year. So it is important you bring in these players from England, from the Premier League, because they know the league. But equally, we've also brought players in from abroad who have done really well. Saliba, Gabriel, do you know what I mean? These guys come from abroad, Partey. So it's not be all and end all buying players from abroad. However, like Nigel was saying, if you start talking 70s, 80s for a player like Declan Rice, there's players out there in other countries who could do just as good a job. We just don't know them because we don't watch them week in, week out. Unless you play for one of the big teams, you don't really, do you know what I mean? You might not spot them. So I know we linked with Subamendi, who's got a 50 million release clause. Do you know what I mean? There was that youngster we was linked to in January. I've never seen him play, if I'm honest, but there was heavy links about him. Again, you never know until they get here. You might end up, look, Caicedo cost 3 million from Ecuador and was on like $5,000 a week when he came, and now man are talking 90 million for him. And
but a week, do you know what it is though, Gumza? The difference is with them sort of deals, what I think is the reason why we were linked to those type of smaller borders is because of where we were at the end of the day. And the board could kind of get away with that with the fan base in the situation we were in. I heard people getting excited about Calvert-Lewin and Ollie Watkins and that. Do you know what I'm saying? We're Arsenal Football Club.
Man's getting excited about Basuma.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what?
Real
Though?
talk.
Real talk, yeah.
Real talk.
I still think the Basuma thing. I still think if Basuma came to Arsenal, he'd be a different player.
No,
I
facts.
blame that on that.
Yeah.
Conte,
The coaching
Conte
makes a
ruined
difference.
him. Conte.
I think
coaching makes a
Basuma would have done a job at Arsenal.
Imagine you go to Spurs and people are telling you Skip is better than you, bro. Like, come on, like, do you know what I'm saying?
it's
Like,
mad.
what's that gonna do to a man?
Skip
and
another
Højbjerg,
question.
like,
Here's another question for you.
Why does it hang up your boots, isn't it?
Yeah, it's long, bro.
Yeah, I hear that. This is the last kind of question for you on this, because again, this is part of the process. It's the profile of player you're buying. So, are you guys more actively looking for players who are on the up? So you're talking about Caicedo. Look at Trossard. Those guys who are doing it for middle table clubs, lower level clubs who come in. So looking at your Manes, your Van Dijks, where they've done well at a smaller club. Or would you be more inclined to go for a player who may not be doing as well at a bigger club? So you look at Odegaard, who we got from Madrid, who at the time it's, can he do it at the top level? Do you know what I mean? We constantly link with Asensio, players like that. Where would you rather us go shopping now? Would you rather us go for the players on the up, or if you could find one who maybe hasn't had the best of time at one of the bigger clubs in world football at the moment? So I'm talking your Real Madrids, your Barcelona. I'm not saying Barcelona are bigger than us, like, but you know what I mean. One of those kind of clubs there. What's your preference?
Me personally, I feel that I think there's something to be had with, you know, taking. Well, look, first and foremost, you got the teams at the bottom spending 30 or 40 million pounds on one player. So, you know, in terms of kind of like, you know, caliber of player, you know, at the lower end of the spectrum in terms of league position, money is a lot closer now in terms of what, you know, the net spend, etc. So there's a lot of players in like clubs like Leeds, your West Hams, your Leicesters and everything, where you've got a hell of a caliber of player. Maddison from Leicester, I think could do a great job. You got what's his name?
Even McAllister at Brighton,
Rice from West Ham. You know what I'm saying? So you buy those kind of caliber of players who are doing things, and their stats are great in the Premier League. They're only going to make your squad and your first team better. So I personally feel, you know, it makes sense to get someone who is proven and has the ability to turn up week in, week out, knows the opposition, knows the caliber and the type of the opposition that he's going to be playing against, rather than getting someone. Yeah, it's nice to kind of sprinkle a little bit of Asensio or Weta or something from abroad. But
the way people talk about Asensio, you know, it's
I don't
kind
think
of
he's all
disrespectful,
that.
you know, brother.
The way I see it,
watch the brother, bro, and look at his
the Real Madrid first team. Why do we want him?
Odegaard.
That's what everyone says. Odegaard's the same thing, isn't it? It's
no, but I know what you're saying.
You see, exactly. You see.
But Asensio is a lot older than Odegaard.
Not too much.
Hey, people like they sleep on Asensio. He's experienced and he's still what, 26, maybe 25.
And yeah, he's not that much older. And I think Asensio is one of them players where
he'll have Saka on his toes. Don't get it twisted, bro. A 4-time Champions League winner as your understudy.
How many minutes has he got in those Champions League finals?
Hey, so is that what Saka's gonna say to him? He's just gonna say, "This is my CV, my bro. What you got? FA Cup? What's that?"
Listen,
maybe a league title by then. You know what I'm saying?
Man's teeth in the living right now, in my opinion.
Nah, G.
Listen,
Anyway,
he's playing it easy there at Real Madrid. He's just living off a name right now.
Wow.
My opinion.
Wow.
But yeah, and this is the debate, isn't it? Because again, I look at Odegaard. He's the name that comes to mind the most with this Arsenal team. Again, he had a couple of loan spells from Madrid. Obviously, came to us on a loan. Didn't really light it up, but he's
played
come
that
back
one
this
game
year.
against West Ham and the 3-3 that was good, and that's it.
Yeah, and
I'd
it was
say-
a good thing. It's a good thing he didn't like it because the price tag was very good. So I don't want to discount the player.
We should target the best from the rest in Spain if that's what we're gonna do.
What about yourself, G-Talks?
Don't let Canners get away with that comment, Gums. Don't let him do it because he's doing the cheap thing, like the best from the rest. Give us names, Canners. Give us names. Don't do that best for the rest.
Go on, I'll let you have that.
Who do you want?
Well, I can give you one, which is Fresneda. So I mean, that's one. So
We're talking about wingers, though, Canners, not
Are we
right
talking
backs.
wingers?
No,
Are we? Are we talking wingers?
We were just talking about Asensio and them man there.
Neto from Wolves. Let's go Neto from Wolves.
Nah,
but again, this is the
that's dead for me now, bro.
What?
really what the injuries or just
bruv. He
Come on.
no one like he's been
Come
injured for a
on.
large point, and then when
you
he's
trying to tell me
played,
Neto from Wolves would not keep Saka on his toes?
nah, G. Neto's not the same player since he come back from injury, bro. If you've got me him in the summer, Arteta already had a year with him now. I'll probably be saying different things. But since the interview, he just looked off, bro. He's not made an impact once.
Play in that dead team, would you?
I don't know. We don't need that sort of mentality at Arsenal. You know what I mean?
I think the reality.
But we've got the non-negotiables now.
I think the reality is there's not a huge amount. Like I could be wrong in it, but there's not a huge amount of right wingers that shout out at me in terms of, because you got to remember, like Saka's unreal.
We're spoiled,
you know what I mean. Like Saka's unreal. So there's going to be very few players in world football that are going to come in and actually really compete or really, you know, put them. Yeah,
but there's players there though. There's players there.
I get it, but at the same time, we've seen a lot of like links with the likes of Diaby from the Bundesliga, from Leverkusen. Like he's a name.
You take
him. But
I mean,
still be at least.
You wouldn't take him.
Yeah,
for real.
I'd say I'd take him, but I'm saying like with me, I'm not massively sold on any particular like individual in terms of the right wing. What I need to happen in the summer is I need the club to identify a winger to come in who's going to basically compete with Saka, but not just be there for when Saka needs a rest. It needs to be somebody who's going to come in as good as Saka is. Somebody's going to come in and really push him. Diaby, of course, like out of the right wingers that are available, he's definitely up there. I think Asensio, I think he's a quality player. I think he's also available on a free as well. So I think he could potentially come in. So
experience as well.
What you will see with Arsenal is you will see a bit of a, like I say, a mixed bag. I think we're not going to go into the summer and just target absolute world-class players.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a kind of comment. I think we will probably
we'll do that A and B thing that we've been doing.
I think we will, I think we'll make use of the free market. And I don't think, I wouldn't be completely against picking up Asensio for a free transfer. I mean, it frees up funds to do other bits in the other squad. But it is a tricky one. But I mean, my preference is always to kind of just, if we're going for a league title, we win a league title, and we're in the Champions League, the best thing is to be buying from the cream of the crop. That's what I would prefer. We've not been in that position for a long time. The fact that we're competing or may go on to win a Premier League, we're back in Champions League football. That is the kind of tier of players that I want us to be going for.
Hey, on that G as well, I can't lie. Canners gums, I can't lie. It would be nice for one summer just to flex a little. You know, them ones there, just flex a little. Or Simon just there like, jeez, I'm like, all right. I wouldn't mind, bro. I wouldn't mind, my guy.
Let me just spend the peas, man.
Yeah, let me run this for you lot quickly, just because I feel it's important what we're talking about that level of player. So I've pulled up one of the squads from one of our qualifier games in the UEFA, in the Europa League, and I'm gonna change a few names just because, like, injuries is why certain players played that they shouldn't. So
tell Luke to behave himself with his comment here.
All right, we're gonna get there in a second, but right, let me get it off the screen. So I pulled up the game against Bodo Glimt. All right, and this was our 11. We had Turner in goal, Tomiyasu, Holding, Gabriel, but we now know that would be Kyria if that game was played and everyone was fit. Now Tierney left back, Sambi Lokonga and Xhaka. And I would think that would be someone like an ESR or El Nene if they were fit. Obviously, El Nene was injured that game. Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, Nketiah, and Martinelli. And now I would say Martinelli, if Reece Nelson was fit, would have played that game. So I'll read it again. Tomiyasu, Holding, Kyria, Tierney, Lokonga, El Nene, Marquinhos, Vieira, Nketiah, and Nelson.
Imagine that in the Champions League.
Yeah, that team gets slipped up.
That's what we're looking at. And again,
we get bodied, bro.
Tell a lie, I forgot Jorginho. Jorginho is now available because obviously he came in. And
he's swapping for Sambi.
So we swap Lokonga out. We keep ESR in, and we could put Trossard in instead of Nelson. But again, Trossard I think has a bigger role in this squad than just being backup.
The only team you're playing that against is at home to Club Brugge or something. Other than that, you're getting slapped.
Or you've already qualified and you got that throwaway last game.
Yeah,
you know
that
them
last
ones?
game, yeah.
Imagine that coming up against Bayern Munich.
Brother.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold 8 again.
Bro,
So this is
who
really
beat us like 3? Who beat PSV? What was the PSV score again? Like
that game was bad. That's when they had 2 goals
3-1,
disallowed
I
as
think,
well,
didn't
didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
PSV
That game
slapped
was
us up.
horrid,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, but that's the kind of, as much as it's funny because we play a game on the weekend, I look at our bench and I think our bench looked quite healthy. Do you know what I mean? Even when the subs were made, I was like, "Rah, Vieira didn't get on, and Smith Rowe didn't get on." So when you sprinkle 1 or 2 in the main 11, it's not that bad. But when you flip it and say, well, "Actually, I need to rest a majority," I look at that and I think that's not ready. Like, and again, even if we went heavy in the Champions League, we had to qualify last qualifier, and then we got a rest for the game against Southampton on Saturday. That team starts against Southampton. I'm not confident. So
Yeah,
there needs to be some surgery. And I don't feel going out and getting that 80 million. Maybe one of them big name signings. If it's Osimhen, let it be Osimhen.
I think we get 2 midfielders this year. I think we get
that's needed.
Maybe like a Rice. I don't know if a Gundogan would come, but for me that would be like the perfect signing for then to compete on 4 fronts. Yeah, there'll be enough there. So you'd have Partey, Jorginho, Xhaka, Gundogan, and Rice.
Yeah. That's a solid 5.
That's a solid 5 to keep that rotating as well. And the drop off from that would just you shouldn't notice.
True. I would take Gundogan and Rice or Caicedo and Milinkovic-Savic. Any of those 2 combinations.
But
Milinkovic-Savic, they're saying his last season of Lazio, they've said he's categorically not signing a contract, so they can't ask for stupid money. Yeah, he's categorically said it. So 25, 30 mil, that's a steal for that guy. The only issue is obviously him and Xhaka. I've heard their countries have some issues.
Yeah, countries are a bit of a war. That's all right. That could be a straight swap. I ain't mad.
I don't mind. And this is what I want to say to people about Xhaka. And I don't want everyone to get mad at me. Like, as much as I've loved him this season, I would have, if he left at the end. Well, hold on. No. Let me land. If he left at the end on a massive high, winning the league, I would say this is the perfect way for him to sign out, because we eventually we need to move past Xhaka. As great as he's done this season, I can't see him replicating this form for another year.
No. Do you know what that would do? That would make us make the exact same mistake that Liverpool did. Yeah. With what's his name? Who's the Dutch?
Don't put him in the same level as Mane. Please don't do that.
Do not do that.
No. The Dutch
don't do that.
Ronaldo. He said Ronaldo.
I'll let you off. Hold on. Let me take it off solo. I didn't want to be on the same screen when you said that.
No. I'm talking about Liverpool made the mistake of selling Ronaldo when they should not have, and he. With Mane going, has caused huge issues with Liverpool's midfield.
But he was a few years ago.
They never properly replaced. They never put bedded someone in to take Ronaldo's place to do what he did.
Good. And was he in the team that won the league, or he left before they won the league?
Nah, he was. He won the Champions League and the league with them.
Bro, any Liverpool supporter, and they'll tell you Mane, Wijnaldum, they've never replaced Wijnaldum. His energy.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think Xhaka's not in the same bracket as Ronaldo. But I hear what you're saying, though.
No, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because
I hear what you're trying to say.
Not only does Xhaka do on a pitch, listen, this year he's gone above and beyond.
No, but is this what I mean more than
no, but mentally and for the actual dressing room, you talk to any player. And any manager, and it's no surprise that every manager picks him.
I hear you, but I just don't. I think if we're to go to that next level next season, we have to move past relying on Granit Xhaka. He can be in the squad, but we have to move past relying on him
like that. You can't do it.
Yeah, maybe, but he can't be the regular starter for me by the second half of last season.
Take his role.
Yeah, again with the Xhaka thing for me, there's definitely Well, I know what you're saying, Callum, but every manager plays him. But is that based on ability or lack of quality in the squad? And that's where it comes down to. There's no one challenging. I know what you're saying. He's had a good season, but you need to tell me.
But who else are they going to play in that
or
position?
Someone like that level. Xhaka doesn't play week in, week out. He will play games. Don't get me twisted. But he starts every game because there's a lack of quality. It's the reason why Partey starts every game, and this is what we're trying to get out of. We want
This is
players.
true,
So again,
bro.
if you
This
bring
is
in
true.
Ruben Neves,
When you
Declan
deep it,
Rice,
that's
some of
true,
these
bro.
players, Partey doesn't play 38 games in a season. He will miss some games because you got a player who's as good as him. Even with how Jorginho has been really good for us, and some of the passes have been unbelievable, he's still not the level of Partey for Arteta to say, Partey, you're sitting down this weekend. Like, you see the difference when he comes on. So Xhaka's in that position. Why I have to rate Arteta is because it's very easy for players to get comfortable if there's no competition. And the fact that these guys are still delivering 8 out of 10s every week with no competition, it's a lot to be said, because it's very easy to down tools if I've got no one pushing me. Do you know what I mean? Ben White ain't got the opportunity to do that because he knows a couple of bad games, Tomiyasu's there. Martinelli's in the same boat now. Trossard's there. Do you know what I mean? There's a few players who have to fight for positions. A few of them have got it comfortable this year.
Right now.
I completely and wholeheartedly agree. But what I was saying, I'll go back to this. Yeah, if you go back to the Bournemouth game, Xhaka was rested or whatever. Yeah, we had a huge
who played? Who played? Vieira. This is the same. That's what Gums is saying, bro. That's the issue.
No.
Quality.
What I'm saying is how important he is on the pitch and also.
You say that, but just a week before,
but he's only important because we don't have anyone.
Aston Villa. But even that, we against Aston Villa, we still came from behind. So
you know what?
I'm not going to hit this.
That's a bit harsh on Xhaka, not because we don't have anyone.
Put him back in and said, I ain't messing about now. I ain't taking Xhaka out. We've won 5 on the trot.
No, but this is the thing.
But there's two arguments here, though. There's two arguments here. One argument is, whether he goes at the end of the season, and the other argument is whether he stays in the squad. For me, based on how he's played this season and based on his impact, also as a character, his experience, I'm happy to see him not necessarily be a starter next season, but I think we would be absolutely insane to sell him.
Yeah,
Why,
I agree with that.
Selling Xhaka when you've got the likes of El Neni and Sambi still on the books is madness. Absolute madness. So
this is the whole thing of it. It's about improving the squad.
I don't mind selling Sambi
and upgrade him, but you want to have a character like Xhaka in and around the squad for me. So I'm happy to see him out of the 11,
the first team.
I'm
part of the squad.
The season after.
And again, you address it the year after. You address it the year. I get what you're saying, Nigel, because a way to go out
is on a high. Your form hasn't dropped. Redemption stories like
man should have walked then.
Hey, the Xhaka documentary will be lit if that's how he left Arsenal. How lit that will be. I signed out with a Premier League title. I told them I'm not leaving until I get something important. You get me?
Trust me. Just drop the boots in the centre circle and bowl off, boy, into the sunset. It's a lovely way to leave. But now I'm with you. Like, again, this is the issue. It's not about. Yes, we want to improve the 11, but we don't want to weaken the squad. We want to improve the squad as well. So if this team goes and wins the Premier League this season, and we know who our main 11 is, and actually we bring in 3 players who demote some of their main 11 to the bench,
that's it.
That is what you need, isn't it? It's about the improvement of the squad. So for me, you can't sell Xhaka this year, and everyone knows my thoughts on him. I don't think he's the
and just quickly, Gums,
he's important
quickly, and this is just so next season we can do that crazy stuff that City do. Where no matter what competition you see them in, you're looking at the 11 like, yo, this is a problem. 100%. Rather than, we can have a good day today with these lot. Do you get what I'm saying?
And do you know what it also gives you as well? Just say we put out 2 names for everyone's calling out. So we call Declan Rice comes in. If he doesn't hit the ground running, then it's not a problem because Xhaka comes back and starts again next to Partey. And we already know what we're going to get with that. We can now give Rice a good season to bed himself in. 100%. A bit like you saw with Grealish. Grealish needed that year to transition into Man City's way, and now he's holding down the left side. But the first season, he was in and out, barely getting minutes. Calvin Phillips is another one. Calvin Phillips next year might come out flying. Do you know what I mean? Now he's learned the system. So you never.
And this is the thing with Vieira. I think we're being a bit too harsh on him this year because
he needs to get in the gym though. In all seriousness,
we've been afforded the luxury with him that I would say someone like Lokonga didn't get last season because we had to rely on him so early, so he wasn't able to go through that honeymoon period. So Vieira scored an early goal. Fans are feeling him. We've not really had to play him because Odegaard's been available nearly every game. I think this is if he doesn't show me something in the first 6 months next season, then we can start questioning him. But I think how he's been used is the perfect way to bed him in.
Yeah. All right. Just a quick one-word answer. real
Yeah.
quick one word answer because this stream's gone on beautifully and we got something else we need to get to before we go. Silver Fox is saying everyone smash the likes. Big up everyone
Yes,
in the comments.
please.
Luke, I see ya.
Big
Moss
up
is in the
everyone in the chat
building. Big
room.
up King. Big up Shane. It's been a great stream. But so just quickly, so we got. Do we continue with the same process or do we change the process? G Talks, what are you saying? What we've seen of Arsenal doing lately? Do we continue with that process this summer, or are we looking, or do you want to go big, 3 or 4
I want to
big
go
players?
big, baby. Big.
Yeah, so
Big.
you're changing the
Strengthen from
philosophy.
a position of strength. Big.
So you're strengthening above, not coming on the same level or below. That's what we're looking at. Yeah, you're going. He's
Yep.
going above. All right, he's
Yep.
pulling the team up with him. Cannons, what are we saying? We're going big, or you're gonna look to rely on what we've been doing, bring through maybe Patino, like people are saying. We've got Norton Coffee out on loan, Marquinhos, Vieira. We got to use these guys more, or nah, we're bringing in and you lot go out on loan. What are you saying?
That's kind of tough because I there is an argument of stifling certain players and their growth. But the thing is, though, man, as fans, we just want
Don't
to
make me
see.
go off the stream, Cannons. Don't make me go off the stream now.
Listen, but as fans, we want to go big, and I'm no different. At the end of the day, I just feel that even in the Wenger eras, right, when we won the league, we always felt that we needed something a little bit more, and we never went and got that until we didn't win it, back to back, the next season. So I want us to, if we win this league, this season and stuff, go big again, cement, create a legacy, man. And as I say, look for domination, baby. That's what it's got to be. It's got to be domination.
But do you know
I
what?
love that. Right, we're coming to you, Nigel. You're getting yourself ready on your seat. So come on, you come.
Gamza. This is it, yeah.
Put it just on him.
It depends. It depends exactly what you mean by like this season. Now, I mean, honest,
hold on. Go on. Sorry, carry on, and I'll give you two names. Go on, go.
Now, because this summer we signed 2 marquee signings, which were Jesus and Zinchenko, and then we kind of had the fillers around it. If we have another summer where we sign 2 marquee signings and have 3 players around that, I'm kind of all right with that. As long as the big player is an attacker and one of the midfielders are the big ones. If those 2 can happen, I think we can get away with Fresneda and Ben White. I think we can get away with that, with Tommy still being in and about the squad. But I think we need that flagship midfielder, and the attacker it's got to be like, no, obviously I'd love it to be Osimhen, but it's got to at least be like a Vlahovic or something. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's what I was going to ask you, because you didn't really answer the question. I was going to say to you, are we talking Ivan Toney or Nketiah? What are you doing? After what Cannons has said about the youth and all that, this is what we're looking at. Are you going to continue to use those kind of players?
As much as defenses have been in trouble because Nketiah is in the room, as much as that's happened, let's get it straight. I would personally, and I think this might rub Gamza the wrong way. I would sell Nketiah in the summer and bring back Balogun and have him playing in like the cup games, a few league games, and then having another marquee striker on top of that. That's what I would do. Therefore, Eddie hopefully gets to leave with a Premier League title. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But, and also we can cash in the 100K a week we've been paying him for the last freaking.
That's a drop in the ocean.
Balogun's contract coming up for renewal as well.
I'd say, I'll be honest.
Well,
I'll be honest. Yeah, he didn't sign a long extension. I don't like. I don't that striker situation. If we can pull something off and get a number 2 in of Ivan Toney or one of those kind of guys, someone who's at a level like that, then by all means we can sell Eddie, we can sell Balogun, whoever it is we decide to sell. I just feel it's very difficult, but again, we may get surprised. So if he stays, I'm saying the same thing. I feel we need to upgrade. As much as I love Reece Nelson, I love Nketiah, I love those young boys coming through. However, when you then bring in that European squad and you think that's what you're playing with, it's not strong enough. Do you know what I mean? We need, like I say, how Trossard is. Looking at Trossard compared to looking at, as much as Nelson's done amazing, again, Marquinhos, guys like that, there's a time for them. I don't think next season's the time for them. Give them a year in the Premier League on loan somewhere. We've seen it with some of the City players. City have got about 3 players at Southampton who have gone under the radar a bit. Like they haven't pulled up trees, but what they've done is they've got a year's experience playing in the Premier League, and all of a sudden they might come back and yeah, they could hit the ground running. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think Sambi's looked better being out on loan. We see what Tavares has done out on loan. I'm not saying these guys are ready to come back into the first team, but actually another year of them being on loan, coming back, you never know.
Hey, bro,
again,
keep him away from my team. I'm not
the amount of players that you lot have written off, Niger, and then all of a sudden, I always say about the physical.
Okay, who? Tell me the players. Comes.
Don't make me call
No,
for
tell
Eddie.
me.
Don't make me call for Reese. You man always.
Okay, so wait. So hold on. So Reese Nelson's a baller now. Is that what you're saying? After he scores a winner.
But
okay, so my comments still stand.
He can play. But as I said, even to look at Harvey Barnes, I thought he was a youngster when he burst on. Harvey Barnes was 24 when he started to really excel. So
wait, how old is Harvey Barnes now?
Harvey Barnes is like 26.
Yeah, he's gone backwards though, man. He's gone backwards.
Swear down, he's 26.
But when he bursts on, even who's the left midfielder they got?
Dewsbury Hall.
Yeah, even he's old. Like some of these players, Dewsbury Hall's not young.
I know this is random as well.
Football old, by the way.
What's you lot's thoughts on the Dutch right back Dumfries?
Yeah, I like him. I like him.
Nah.
I like him.
I like him, man.
He's a winger, bro. He's a winger.
Yeah,
he's him a right back. He's a winger.
He's mad athletic. But again,
he's a winger, bro. He's not. Nah, he's a winger, not a wing back. He's a fucking winger that plays right back, bro.
It's the same argument I had with King when I saw that Jorginho. We're a team that play with 70% of possession. So yes, there'll be games where I'm saying actually it's Ben White or Tomiyasu who plays, and there'll be games where I'm saying let's just release Dumfries because it's attack. But
this summer, I want Dumfries, I want Declan Rice, and I want
Tierney's going, so we probably bring Tavares back.
Yeah, but do you know the beauty of it is if we do look to sell, just say we go to sell Nketiah, we go to sell Tavares. This is where we've been wrong in the years gone by. We haven't made money on some of these players. We go to sell. I think there's got to be an element we have to sell players because not everyone can play. So actually, we're selling from a position of strength where actually we will get proper value for these players, and then we can go and buy. Do you know what I mean? So this is where actually I'm not really fussed to Arsenal. I think Saka, Saliba, Martinelli, maybe that's the only ones I'm saying. At no cost can we sell for them. I hope we don't sell these man for the next 5-10. Everyone knows I love Smith Rowe. He shares my birthday, but if a 50 million, 40 million comes from Smith Rowe, you got to take it. Do you know what I mean? So
you're taking it? Nah, I'm not taking
Rowe,
that. You know, I'm not taking it, bro.
It depends who you're bringing in because the names we're talking.
65, and I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you for a little 65, but 50.
Sell him.
Nah,
I wouldn't want to, but
I'll talk to you for 65 with a buyback.
It's that level of if we're bringing in. So just say we will see Smith Rowe wants to kind of play in 8. We will see him kind of playing centrally. Now, if you're saying you bring in Caicedo or Smith Rowe's injuries, the rest of it, actually Caicedo's shown what he can do over a season. Like if we pay $1 million extra and get Caicedo, I'd be willing to take that. As much as I love Smith Rowe, like he was unbelievable last year. I think he's got a high ceiling. But there's got to be an element of ruthlessness. Do you know what I mean? We can't stop.
This guy's sticking up for Sambi, but saying we can sell Smith Rowe.
If we sell Sambi, we sell Sambi. But my thing is, I don't want to hold on.
I'm coming straight to your house when I land in the UK. Your house.
You're coming from me. What we've done for too long, we've held on to players for too long, and they've lost their value. Sorry, 1 second, Canners. What we've done too often, we hold on to players too long. They lose their value. You can't move them on. We're stuck on contracts, whatever it is. I look at Maitland-Niles. We had an offer of 30 million for Maitland-Niles. We rode out for one more year. He's now out on loan, and we're not going to get 90 for him when we do come to sell him. It's about selling these guys when the time's right. So Tavares coming back off this loan, if we can get 35, 40 million for him, that's mad money on someone.
I'm on that for Tavares.
Do you know what I mean? So, but again, you could keep Smith Rowe for one more year. He might break down with injuries again. His value drops to another 10, 15 mil. Same as
he might not and score another 12 goals.
You never know. But this is where you put the buybacks in, boy. This is where you put them buybacks and first refusals. Again, you're selling from a position of strength. We're not selling like we did with Alexis, where, oh my God, we got to take Mkhitaryan or we're going to lose this guy on the free. We got to take something. Nah, we're selling when we're controlling the sale. So, okay, we're selling to you, but the buyback's here. The first refusal's there. So before he talks to any other club, he's got to come and see me. And actually, we can get him for Just say we sell him for 40, okay, 50 million, we get him. Real Madrid do it all the time. Again, who is it we was linked with before? And I can't remember who it was. And they said they're going to buy the player back because they know teams want to buy him. So they had a buyback clause to say 30 million, and they know teams are ready to pay 50 for him. So actually, we're just buying him back now, and we're going to sell him in the same window, but we're going to make an extra 10, 15 mil on it. Like, that's how some of them clubs are moving. They're ruthless, but they're selling from a position of power. And we've never been able to do that. We had to sell because a man's got 1 year left and he's saying, boy, I want out. So we just quickly grab a little 15, 20 mil. I think Iwobi's our highest ever transfer we've ever received. Like, think of all the great players Arsenal have had, and Iwobi's our highest transfer fee we've ever received. And Overmars is like number 5. Overmars is like number 5, and he left how many years ago when football didn't have money like that? Like, and this is what I'm saying, we haven't sold well in previous years. So for me, part of the process is getting good value for some of these players who, yes, we might rate them. However, football moves on, and there's players out there who, do you know what I mean? Who would have ever thought KT can't get a start? Cedric starting in front of KT.
I know.
Cedric was starting. Do you know what I mean? Who would have thought that? Do you know what I mean?
That
so
never
again,
happened, bro. Cedric never started before KT.
Bruv, am I lying? Earlier in the season when Zinchenko was injured, Cedric didn't start a game at left back.
Nah. Come on, bro. Come on, don't do that.
Don't make me go to fact check it now. I'll call you out. Tomiyasu started. Cedric played. Cedric played a game in front of KT. Hand on heart, Cedric played a game in front of KT. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna do the research. I'm gonna pull it up. Someone clip this, and then we come with the facts. Let me come with it. Or you might not start, but he come off the bench before Tierney come off the bench.
Don't change it now, bruv. Nah, you said
come on the pitch at left back.
You said start,
come on the pitch and left back in front of Tierney. Because it was Tomiyasu.
No, that's not what you said. You said started before.
Brother, you know what I mean. It might be a thing.
All I know is what you said, bro. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I bet. But as I said, that's part and parcel. Like, you never know what Arteta's agenda is and how he wants to set up. Say, this year, yes, Tierney's our main left back. Next year I'm playing inverted. Tierney might not have a role for me. And it's just football, do you know what I mean? So I feel we have to just move like a big club. But I know I've gone on longer than I should have. But before we go, I know we said an hour, but it's gone over. The man's retired, one of the most classiest. He was my guy. I know G Talks ain't gonna like what I say, but we signed a world-class player once, and he ripped it for a few years. It didn't end very well for him, but the late great Mesut Ozil's retired from football. What's your thoughts on it? G-Talks, I'm not coming to you yet because we're not starting on a downer. But Canners, we're going to come to you. What's your thoughts on Ozil retiring? And give me your favourite moment from the catalogue of just give me something he's done. Oh, God, this guy.
Okay. So, listen, man, I was hyped beyond... I can't remember the last time I was so hyped about someone coming into my club. We're signing a true world-class player. Even I remember it was his debut away to Sunderland, and he just set up Giroud so neatly. But if you watch that game back, it was just beautiful, and it was just so sublime. But if you watch that game, the amount of chances he produced for that team, and the amount of chances that were missed, his assists should be off the charts right now. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd love to see his stats on chances created because he was ridiculous. Favorite moment? Once upon a time when we was in the Champions League and we needed a win. I can't remember the name of the team, but it was a Minnows team, and he dinged
the Goretz. Is that one? Isn't it?
Yeah. Stop it! That goal was top draw.
That goal was too much. I just remember Jones absolutely nuts. Because he sat the keeper down as well at the end of it.
That goal was filth. Absolute filth.
It was dirty. It was nasty. It was. You don't do that to other professionals. Sitting them
they
down
got families. They got kids, man.
They got kids. And the grandkids could say, "Grandpa, was that you who was sat on the floor?"
No, son, I was never a footballer. Right.
Listen, no, it looked like me. Listen, big up to him. Yes, it ended, sour. I don't know what happened with Emery and Arteta, but I'd like to think, and it would have been nice to see actually if he could have actually integrated himself. And I actually think him doing that Odegaard kind of role would suit him to an absolute T.
But you don't press, man.
Nah, but you know what? You know what the thing is, though?
If he can buy into it.
Do you know what?
If he sees what he sees now, he would be pressing.
This is all This is what I would say about Ozil, yeah, because I know this could last an hour if I really wanted to go into it, but I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet.
Please do.
If Ozil had the protection that Odegaard has, people will be saying a lot different things about the boy right now. My guy was playing in front of Ramsey and Arteta at one point. Like, what kind of fucking protection is that? Then we forced ourselves to get excited about Coquelin. Like, let's be honest. Like, it was
my
Wenger.
guy.
Now he was my guy, but if Wenger just signed a quality DM to challenge him in that next summer, he would have been a bigger player, I do believe. But he gave him too much faith too early, and he eventually declined, just like Iwobi did as well. So I believe he's not as far as to say a luxury player, but he needs players that can do the running for him, like what's his name, Riquelme did, and we saw how class he was as a playmaker. When you have Ozil just focus on creating chances for the team, that's what he does. Imagine he was in this team with all the pace in front of him, players running in behind. He would have a field day. Yeah, he never had that.
It comes out. Imagine telling Zidane press.
Yeah, I'm with you. But that's why Mason Mount gets in the England squad, isn't it? It's not about individual. There's no more.
Potter be asking man like Pirlo to press right now, bro. Imagine Pirlo pressing, bro. Pirlo. Come on, bro. You find ways to make them type of players in your team. Yeah, that's way.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that 100%, man. I love that guy, bro. And again, he's like the last of those players. And when I say those players, I mean the Ronaldinhos, the Zidanes, them guys there who, again, you've built a system around them. You just told them do what you want to do, and you just find space and hurt teams. Like, the guy was unbelievable.
One last moment before G comes in.
I've not even said my moment, but yeah.
No. I just want to give just one more moment because this was a hairline between the two. It was the pass to Monreal. You know the one.
Yeah, ridiculous. The pass before the assist, right?
Yeah.
Who saw that?
Execution on everything.
I don't know who scored the goal, but I know who passed it.
It was ridiculous. It was like, what's he doing? He's just kicked it out. Oh, shit,
literally, because Monreal wasn't even in the screen at the time. I'm thinking, who's this to, bro?
And it's the weight.
Pops out of nowhere. I'm like, oh.
The weight of everything that man done was on a different level. Nigel, give me your best moment. Then we're gonna get to G talk.
I'll say my best moment. I don't know if it's my best, but it's up there. The goal against Liverpool, to make us 3-2. Yeah. The little dink, the little, that trick shot that he has to make it 3-2 against, walking in a winter wonderland. I think Drury was saying as he scored. Great piece of invention, man.
G-Talks,
players are trying to do it now.
For real. G-Talks, go on, give me the negative.
No, you know what? It's not a big negative. I mean, I echo what everybody has said. I think particularly what Kanna said, about. I don't think other than, I don't even think there's a signing that I've been more excited about. In terms of obviously the whole deadline day drama, 11 o'clock announcement, world-class player, obviously. Fantastic signing. In terms of footballing ability, I don't think we've had many a better player than him in terms of technical ability. What I like to call, defense splitting pass. He just had it. He just had it. He just oozed absolute class. Moments, there are so many. I think you've mentioned a couple of them already. Some of his first-time volley finishes really kind of resonate with me. Yeah, there was one far
Newcastle.
Newcastle, and there was a far post volley against Chelsea as well, which was a sweet finish. The only thing for me was obviously the way it ended. I don't feel like he did it. Obviously, we don't really know what happened. At the same time, I don't really feel like he did enough to kind of somewhat squash or kind of keep the peace between himself, because I think there was a time when he was kind of on the way out, the fan base was completely divided by the whole Ozil situation. And I don't think he did a very good job at just kind of keeping that kind of civil. I think in many ways he made it worse. Even when he was at the club or when he left the club, he would tweet things like "trust the process" with laughing emojis. Show some fucking class, man. As far as I'm concerned. So while he was a classy player, I think he was a bit of a prick, to be honest.
To be honest,
he was the main man, though, isn't it? Like
but
again,
this
he
is
was.
the thing, though. G,
God,
quickly, sorry,
G.
Gumbo, sorry. This is
Go on.
the thing is that I'm not ready to have that take on him until I know what really went on. But I hear what you're saying, but I might be salty like that after the way I was treated, because the things I've heard, it makes it think, the club kind of handled him in a really negative way, but we don't know yet. I hear what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
It is with me. It's not so much because I completely agree. I think we do need added context to it. The issue I have is not even really with him. And I think maybe some of my dislike for him since he's left the club is probably more to do with our fans than anything. Because a lot of people, just very similar to the Aubameyang situation, they almost became fans of the player. More than the club.
Players bigger than the club.
Really,
I don't believe
winds
in that.
me up, man. Because even when the whole Aubameyang and Arteta thing was happening, I was very much a neutral. Like even when I was doing streams, I was just talking about him not being in the team or his future, whatever. I weren't really doing the whole like Arteta side, Aubameyang side. The same with Ozil. And you can go back on all my tweets. You won't see me write one negative thing about Ozil. But I just feel the quality of the player he was and the influence he had in terms of our fan base and the media, I think he did a very poor job at kind of managing that situation. That trust the process tweet for me was completely out of order, because for me that wasn't just against the club. That was like directed completely at Arteta. Do you know how much fuel that gave Arteta outers? When someone like Ozil of that influence and that magnitude will go to social media and do that. You see me, I'm a very private person. If I'm beefing somebody, I'm a beef you straight up direct. I'm not sending subliminals on socials. I'm coming to your yard. I'm having a conversation. I'm not sending subliminal messages on social. So he should have just manned up and kept his conversation.
Everyone get to know it's on site,
Fam, listen, he should have kept his conversations and his opinions or whatever, as the club did. We don't know what happened, but you don't see the club coming out saying, "Oh boy, look at you, man, getting your contract ripped up at Fenerbahce." You don't. For me, as a professional, there's levels, man, and you got to show class. And for me, when we sit here on streams and we talk about Arsenal, about doing the right thing and class, etc., for me, he didn't project that. So for that reason, for me, there's a downer on his whole influence and history at Arsenal club for me. Simple.
I did see some of that stuff, but I think that even recently, most of his tweets about Arsenal now have been, hella positive.
Yeah, because he left and done nothing.
It's got to be. Yeah,
that's why, man.
It's got to be.
He left and he ate some.
Look, this is what I'm at. Like, we don't know how bad it went, because the way it looks like, he made some comments. Then our sponsor Adidas got involved, and that's how it looks on one side. But so if that story is the one, and that's the reason he got shipped out like that, that's fuckery, bro. And I'd be feeling that type of way.
I'll be real. That saved him. That saved him.
If that's the case,
God, you go next to me.
About that. That's what I would do. I would go on a documentary and I would say, yo, this is how the club treated me. And these are the man them that treated me that way. I won't come out with no subliminal childish tweets like trust the process.
Fair enough.
Nah, man. Just have it out, say your piece. But that kind of childish play for me, I was like, Bridgin, are you 31 or 13, blood? Like writing them kind of silly tweets, like directed at Mikel Arteta, like loud.
I'll be honest. Sorry, let me jump in. I'll be honest. I feel that the tweets about what happened in China, that saved him and saved a bit of face for him. And he's never going to speak on that, because actually we don't know what happened. And actually that saves me. That everyone then speculates, oh, he's been dropped from the team because of this. Nah, he got dropped when Emery was in charge. Emery tried to put a rock up his backside, and all it smells of for me is he had an easy time under Wenger. And now these other managers are coming in and saying, you got to put some work in. And he said, I'm Mesut Ozil, I ain't got to do that. Find a way. I ain't doing what you asked me to do. And they tried. Again, Emery tried to drop him, and the backlash was crazy. So he put him back in. Then Arteta comes in, and again, Arteta's got his non-negotiables. Ozil didn't try. Do you know what I mean? So he said, all right, you're out. And
I hear it.
Because
I would have liked to see him with Partey though. playing
Brother,
Yeah,
listen,
he would have
you
done bits,
see,
but
if
his
we were,
mentality was again. He's done everything in the game. So
Mm,
who are you to come and tell
yeah,
me this? I've got to do this. I've got to do it. And again, this is where Aubameyang came in
And
to
it was
talk
his
of Arteta
brethren that he
already.
was playing with.
he's,
Like, we
he's,
used to
he's
play
a great
together,
player.
Mika. What do you mean
Yeah,
talking to me in the air?
For
But
me, he's a great player. But if we
great.
were still 8th, Bredgen, he'd still be tweeting his nonsense. Trust me.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I think the time for me
He would.
when I liked Ozil, and everyone knows how I felt about Guendouzi. But there was an interview, and someone said to Ozil, "Who do you think the best young player is at Arsenal, or the best?" Someone said something, best player at
And he
Arsenal.
said
He said
Ozil.
Guendouzi, and there was a reason why, because Guendouzi just had the fallout with Arteta, and you could see, and we've all been in dressing rooms where you got a couple of players who never start, and them two always sit together. And them two in there, there's winding things up, talking. And Arteta had to he had to clear the decks. And if you lot could go on record, you remember me from time, I was saying clear it out, get rid of everything. This team's been underperforming for so many years. I'll be happy when I don't see any of these players. And I loved Abba, I love Laka, but everyone had to move on. And we're seeing the benefits of that now. We've got a young team which is hungry, which everyone's fighting for the cause. Them times that dressing room was so chaotic and fractioned, and someone said here there was leaks coming out every week. You had Ozil's camp not getting on with this camp. Like,
Trust me, man.
do you know what I mean?
Great
It was a
player,
mess. So
Great player, but I know he's a man that I would have just draped up in that dressing room.
yeah,
Trust
he would
me.
have had to get beat up. He would have had to. He would have had to get beat
Yeah.
up. But unbelievable talent. Do you know what I mean? You know
Quality
them guys
player,
that make
though.
it
Quality
so
player,
easy.
yeah. Hands down, quality player.
So that
And he
so that
and he's apparently he's done some really, really good work with Saka when he was just getting into the first team as well. So I gotta give him respect.
big him up. I gotta love Ozil. Can I give you my little Ozil moment?
Go for it.
It was the second time he done the bounce pass. I can't remember if it was from a penalty or what, but the first time it was, did he mean to do it? Like, you're watching it thinking, no, man didn't mean to do that. That's fluke. And then when he done it the second time, it's like, hold on, he meant that. And then you see it third, fourth, you see it, he's got an assist from it, he scored penalties from it. Like, you see it in training videos, it just showed you, some players have just naturally got something which you can't coach, you can't teach. You know what I mean? He was one of them ones, and yeah, he was unbelievable, man. What a player we had there.
It is phenomenal. I just remember when he first came as well, and he spat his chewing gum out, kicked it, and then
I remember that.
Casual.
And he winked to the players because the players went raw. My man's doing it with chewing gum.
You know how much, man.
The player was thinking the chewing gum would have stuck to my leg. Fuck.
Yeah, brother. I'm telling you,
man tried that. Bear man tried that.
It is. You can't replicate what some of them man have naturally got. You can't replicate in it. It's just, you just hope when players have got that ability, they just have the work rate as well. And
this comment from across the pond, that's a massive point, because Ozil would have been a different player in the dressing room with someone like Tony Adams, but because of the way Arsenal were, he had to be the person to make the difference, and he's not that style of player. If there was a couple of other personalities in that were big personalities, he wouldn't have been able to. He wouldn't have had to do any of that. To be fair, as well.
He again, and it was at the time. As you think, the big personalities there were Ozil and Alexis, so they had control of the dressing room as such. Like,
and then when Alexis left, it was all him.
The crazy thing about Alexis is what is his legendary? Is he a legend at Arsenal?
Nah, unfortunately. Unfortunately, not.
He's killed, but the way he talks about us in such a favorable way now on social media.
Bro, do you blame him after what happened to him after he left? Do you blame him?
But he really kind of fucked himself with playing the piano and all that kind of shit with Man United.
Who would you hold higher in regard? Who's welcome back at the Emirates more, Alexis or Ozil?
That's an interesting one because of how Alexis left. That is an interesting
for me,
one.
Ozil's more welcome back for me than Alexis.
I think that's for another stream. This ain't a quick answer. Comes up.
I've got about 5 names. I've got about 6 names we could put in the hat. We're going to do that next week. I've got Alexis.
That would be tremendous.
That would be crazy. Yeah,
we got a few. Van Persie, Fabregas, Alexis, Ozil.
No way.
I'm telling you this on stream. Van Persie is the only man I know. If I saw him on road, I would consider doing him something.
No,
that's the one guy.
More than Nasri.
Bruv.
Listen, I'll tell you,
more than Nasri, more than Adebayo, brother. The guy when he started, this is when I lost it. The little boy in my head, bruv. That comment there, for me, we were done there. The little boy in my head told me Manchester. You fucking idiot. No. Don't get me started about Van Persie.
It don't beat scoring a goal at one end and then running the whole length.
Yeah, Adebayo.
Brother,
Just
he won a
watch
trophy at
the
our
time.
biggest rivals. The one we gave him one, if he gave us one good year injury free, wins the golden boot, then goes to United and wins the league, bro. Nah,
Yeah,
bro.
Van
If he
Persie
went
was-
anywhere else, brother.
Mm-mm.
Obviously, except Tottenham.
You know what
Anywhere
I
else.
said? The man ran the length of the pitch with them glory arms, all of this here to go and celebrate in front of man, and then went to
The
Tottenham
two of
after
them,
that, and then went to
the two of them
Tottenham.
are two peas in a
But
But
pod.
what
man.
did he
And
win?
then play for Tottenham.
But he won
And
nothing,
scored
my
against
guy.
us
He
and
won
celebrated.
nothing after he left Arsenal. 0 trophies.
Right, let's carry this one
Boy.
on next week. Let's carry this
Yeah,
on
for
next week
real,
going
for real,
forward.
for real.
Now,
This is a
because
hot
I
one.
think
This
this
is
could
a
get
hot one.
heated. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I was
I
really
ain't
getting
gonna top 10 in a
flashbacks,
little
bro.
while. Let me speak to Silverfox. We're gonna get a top 10 roll. I'm gonna ask a few more man for their top 10 list.
Ah.
We're gonna get the database out. We're gonna give the top 10 players who are not welcome
Not
back to the
welcome
Emirates.
back.
And we
Right.
go from there. But nah, guys, we could have gone on for another half an hour easily, man. I've
Easily.
enjoyed today massively. Guys in the comments, big up yourselves. Yeah, it's been a great show. Let's go.
I remember that.
I'm not even getting into some of the comments, guys. Sorry, I know the comments will keep coming, but I'll respond to some of you in the YouTube chat afterwards. I can't keep bringing. Otherwise, I'll be here for another 20. But yeah, process. We're trusting it. We're definitely trusting it, and we're looking forward to what next season brings. And hopefully, this season we finish with some joyous moments. And Niger coming down to the parade. I look forward to seeing you, my brother.
You coming for real? You coming, Wolves?
I'm coming, but I'm not around for the parade. But as the games start piling up, man might have to just extend the ticket. You know the ones there. Like, yeah, let me know. You know the ones. But we'll see. We'll see.
You know when man does that, they get gaffed, innit?
Yeah. Should I? Oh shit.
Man's already planning, boy. But yeah, guys, from all of us, it's been nothing but love. Enjoy your evenings,
Yeah,
and we'll speak to you soon.
Take it easy, man.